Yeah, Adam, when you beat me by about 70-some points, that stung a little bit. I thought we were friends and laid it on thick, real thick. Terrible.
No problem, Scares.
There's no question my number one guy would have to be A.J. Green. There's nobody more consistent at wide receiver. I mean, even when Andy Dalton's throwing 5 picks a game, he's still getting his. Turd.
We'll make this quick. We'll talk about my victories for the year because there weren't many. Week 2, took out Brandon Griffin, got me back on track. And then on top of that, it was very fun to kick David's ass all year long. And then the blowout with Richard Payne, you know what I'm talking about. Second game with Scott, a little bit better, still not there. Next year, I won't lose a game to you. Definitely the person that showed up for me this year, Jamal Charles. Highest scoring game out of anybody all year long, and he really was probably the only person all year who kept me in the hunt. Turning point this year, thank you Kevin Daniels, you saved my season. Got rid of Alfred Morris, who wasn't putting up any points. Took on Josh Gordon, who went through the roof.
Probably my most exciting victory other than week 1 after beating Shit Talker Payne was beating Farrar at the end of the season with the guys that were on his team and wanted to be playmakers for mine. Yeah, that was a good victory. Probably my best waiver pickup was, man, I don't think I got one good waiver pickup. My most disheartening loss was to Terry Lambert.
I'd have to say my proudest, best victory of the season was when I beat Haas week 2, because after that devastating loss in week 1, I had to come back with something. And those are 2 of my best friends. I couldn't let both of them beat me. My trade with Harley, it's kind of win and lose. At first, I still think it was a good trade. I had Darren McFadden. He's just not dependable. I don't know why I got him. I'm crazy. But anyway, I needed a solid running back, and he had Alfred Morris. So I offered him, I think it was Darren McFadden and Josh Gordon, who ended up blowing up later. That's the downside. All right. My second trade of the year was with Jason Scaris. I was looking pretty good. You know, I was right there on the cusp of the playoffs. I needed something big. I needed A.J. Green, at least I thought. So I gave Jason, Jordy Nelson, and Andre Brown, who had just had an awesome game coming back for the Giants, gave it a little extra oomph. And he gave me A.J. Green and some other guy I really didn't give a shit about. And I thought I was set.
Rest his soul when he went and, when you go to a far worse team, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, it was Ferrari beat me that week. I had just gotten A.J. Green, and I know he didn't like that because he's a smart guy. He was looking at my squad saying, okay, there's the next champion right there. What am I going to do? Fuck. And for me to lose like that after I get A.J. Green to him,
But I got tired of hearing about Turd and his draft where he got AJ Green. I wanted to beat him bad.
My best player, probably No Sean. I think No Sean Moreno racked up the most points for me. But overall, everybody did a pretty swell job. It was a team effort. When it came to waivers, I'm pretty sure I played the game the best. Call me the king of the waivers, if you will. First of all, No Sean Moreno, of course, I picked him up in week 2. And he got me bukus of points throughout the season. But other than that, Nate Washington, I picked him up for a few weeks. First time I picked him up, he got me 20-some points.
Nate Washington. That's all I can say.
Browns defense, first time I picked them up, another 20 points. Towards the end, I just rubbed it in everybody's faces. Hey, let me try Tampa Bay's defense, 23 points. Y'all want waivers? Come talk to me. My most exciting victory of the year, everybody should know that. Haas! How did it feel to get foobarred? Huh? Huh? What? What's that? Oh yeah, you lost to a shitty draft pick guy? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was thinking about suicide. For real.
Man, I probably texted him, I don't know, 50 to 100 times.
He kept texting me constantly. I really started to think he was gay.
As soon as that game was over, as soon as I saw the final points, and Team Fubar was victorious over the Silly Nannies, whatever the hell his name of his team was. Sweet victory, sweet. My most disheartening loss was to Jason Scaris. Jason, if I could go back in time, you would have lost that game. I wasn't prepared. If I'm not mistaken, I had a player out with an injury, and oh, I'm watching TV, he's not playing, no, too late. No clicky. And now, here I am, out of the playoffs. Congratulations, I gave that one to you.
Is that a baby? Is that a baby crying in the background?
This year, I learned a ton about football in general. But before this year, I was a football fan, but I wasn't a real football fan. I couldn't tell you who hardly anybody was in the NFL. Now I have a knowledge of who players are, what they're capable of. I even know what's coming up from the college level this year. So next year, it's not going to be a crappy draft pick. I promise you that. So right off the get-go, I'm going to be a threat. So everybody better watch out for Team Fubar 2014.
The moment I lost Adrian Peterson was definitely a downfall for me. I was watching the game at the time, and it definitely looked like some excruciating pain that he was going through. I was hoping, from the league, from the commissioner, that maybe throw me a bone a little bit. I had the best running back in the league. I was hoping to get the second running back in Jamal Charles. That didn't work out in my favor because everybody was bitching and complaining about it. Just ask Mr. Kevin Daniel. You know all about that.
Cry me a river, win with your own team.
Trade gate. Scott came to me, wanted to be better off for playoffs. Then David said, not gonna happen.
Trade game. Let me tell you something. all the years I played fantasy football, I've never seen some shit like that. Alright, so Scott loses Adrian Peterson. Part of the whole fantasy football thing, it happens. Shit happens. I lost Doug Martin, okay? Fucking cry me a river. But this guy wants, going into the playoffs, to acquire the second best running back in the league, Jamal Charles, from someone who is not even in the playoffs, has nothing to lose. I believe it was Harley, but I'm not sure.
Scotty called me the week before the playoffs started. I knew about Peterson going down. He was, looking at the injury. We thought he was going to be out for a while. And Scott said, hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and get Jamal Charles for the playoffs this coming up week. I asked him, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Is this a joke?
And so he wants to do some bullshit trade to get, Jamal Charles so he can play him, but he doesn't want to get rid of Adrian Peterson. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. So I just, I'm just like, no, you can't do that. I mean, I got a little bit of say, so I mean, I'm the VP commish, so no can do. You can't do that. Have a little bit of fantasy football integrity next time.
And he was dead serious. Competitiveness in fantasy football is no joke. No joke. And me and him got into a verbal altercation over the phone. Just fighting over the phone because I wasn't allowed to get Jamal Charles. So I did one thing that I really regret doing. I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, which I should have just laid my foot down and said no, because ultimately I knew that was going to be the answer. No.
Number one rule with this, David should have stepped up and said no. Scott shouldn't have been such a bitch about it.
I posted it on our Facebook page and kind of wanted him to see how he was sounding. I wanted him to hear how he was sounding. And man, they lit into him like, oh God, like a lion chasing a gazelle and eating it up. Kevin Daniel was laying it on him thick, real thick. Glad I had the support from my co-commish. He's a little bit more hardcore than I am when it comes to feelings. So, man, that's how it goes. Fantasy football is no joke.
You really want to know what I think about Trey Kate? This is what I think.
Sorry, Scott.
Come on, Scott, man. You gotta have fair trades. That was just weak sauce, dude. You can't do that. Rules are rules. You know how fantasy football works. That's piss poor.
Why don't we just give you what you want? Here, take whoever you want. We don't care. Go ahead.